Let's not start that flying saucer nonsense again.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you've never been here before. Welcome back to the big library tour. So I'm going through all the books I can. I actually think I'm going to leave a few out by accident. I know there's some stuff in the loft that didn't come down in my big unhaul in the loft. So those are just going to be left out of the library tour. But there's loads of stuff that's not in the loft that I'm going through now. So I've been through those shelves. To the right is some boxes full of science fiction. Science fiction. Why was that difficult to say? Science fiction, which is what this is about. This is science fiction in boxes. So I'm starting with a non-fiction book. But I'm going to rattle through these science fiction books. So please comment below if you're fond of these authors, or if there's any book on there that you go, oh, I didn't know that existed, or that you've read, that you love it, please tell me. But anyway, let's start with the great Ursula K. Le Guin. So if you've seen my other videos, you know I've got tons of books of hers, including that lovely big box set that's up there. And this is a relatively new purchase, actually. Dreams Must Explain Themselves, the selected non-fiction of Ursula K. Le Guin. So I love this book, and let's kick that off with that. And then, tell you what we'll do, we'll follow that with this. So this is Edgar Rice Burroughs, the John Carter of Mars. John Carter, there's only one John Carter. John Carter of Mars, the first 5 novels in this big hardback collection. So that was a nice find in a second-hand shop. I can't remember how much I paid for it. But yeah, I have got those novels separately as well. I'm pretty sure I got the first 5. I've got about 7 of them. But I think, I'm hoping those were included in the Great Unhaul videos, but I can't remember. Anyway, there's a big hardback collection here. So a big shout out to Michael K. Vaughan for sending me in that direction. Right, here we go. So, Charles Finney, The Unholy City. So that looks like a bit of a Lost World kind of thing. Charles Finney wrote The Circus of Dr. Lao. Roger Zelazny's Lord of Light, absolute classic. And Roger Zelazny was one of the early people that I first got involved in when I was a kid. This is one of the Edgar Rice Burroughs one, Escape on Venus. So this is one of the Venus ones, more than the Mars ones. But there's that one. Who Goes There? John W. Campbell, one of the greatest short stories ever, one of my favourite short stories. At some point I need to do my top 10 short stories. Who Goes There, which features some other stories as well, but clearly Who Goes There is a big feature. So there we are. But it's an amazing story. Obviously, I don't know if you know, but it was what The Thing was based on. And a collection here of John Wyndham stuff, the best of John Wyndham, 51 to 1960. So you've probably seen a lot of other John Wyndham stuff in previous videos. Harry Harrison's first appearance in this science fiction spectacular, Death World 1. I reread this recently, I really enjoyed it. So big up to Harry Harrison. Spider Robinson's Time Travelers Strictly Cash. That's the second book in the Callahan's Space-Time Bar Saloon thing. Cross-Time Saloon, that's it. Callahan's Cross-Time Saloon books. That's the second one. I've got a bunch of them. All the rest of them I've got in hardback. And I think they were in that Great Unhaul videos. The first Philip K. Dick of this spectacular, science fiction spectacular, The Variable Man. I bought this to read in my December Philip K. Dick thing. I didn't get to it. Brian Aldiss, really important editor as well as author. The Saliva Tree. I had to buy that. It's called The Saliva Tree. Okay. See, if I thought it would be tenable, I would have bundled all the Ray Bradbury stuff together. But you're just going to see Ray Bradbury pop up a lot. And this is a relatively recent one, Green Shadows, White Whale. So it was one of his last, I think, from what I remember. Ring Around the Sun by Clifford Simak. A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick in the SF Masterworks edition. This is one I'm actually in the middle of reading. No, sorry, I read it, but in the middle of reviewing for a video. So kind of like looking at it again in a different way. The October Country, Ray Bradbury. Such an important book and one of my favourites. The Long Habit of Living by Joe Haldeman. I like Joe Haldeman. So, The Long Habit of Living. Alan Dean Foster, Jed the Dead. I think this is a Western, but it might be just a Western style science fiction. Jed the Dead. I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure. H. Beam Piper, Empire. So H. Beam Piper's most famous for Little Fuzzies. And this is one I found by him called Empire. This was one I bought because it's kind of intrigued me, but I didn't really know about it before. The Universe Against Her by James Schmitz. Really interesting cover. Like classic science fiction, I guess. John W. Campbell Memorial Anthology, edited by Harry Harrison, with stories by Bester, Asimov, Simak, Sturgeon, and many others. Let's have a look, see what examples we can find. Oh, okay, doesn't look like the... Okay, the contents page was taken out. Robert Silverberg, there's going to be lots of Robert Silverberg here. The Magiport Chronicles. This is Dan Morgan, The Several Minds. So this looks like a follow-on from The New Minds by Dan Morgan. Wasp, Eric Frank Russell's Wasp. This is a really important book and I think it's quite unique. A.E. Van Vogt, The Grib. I've got a few of his. There's another one. More Than Superhuman. I love this book. I've got 2 copies of it for some reason, but I really don't want to part with one of them. The 100 Great Science Fiction Short Stories. So these are really short stories. And there's a massive cast of authors in there. And there's at least 2 appearances by Robert Sheckley, which is really good. Paul Anderson, Guardians of Time. So he seems to like writing books about time travel. And Paul Anderson's there, Guardians of Time. Harry Kuttner, Clash by Night. So I bought this to try out Harry Kuttner because this will be the first one I've read by him. I think I might have another one, but I think this might be the first one I'll read. Harry Kuttner. Brian Aldiss, Earthworks, really important book. And quite an iconic cover as well. That's been used for lots of different book covers about science fiction illustration as well. Kate Wilhelm, Where Late the Sweet Bird Sang, a dystopian novel. Well, post-apocalyptic novel. This is a bunch of different authors. This is an anthology called Alien Worlds. So you've got Block in there, Robert Block, Jack Brunner, Philip K. Dick, John Campbell, Robert Sheckley, Simak, Wyndham. There's lots of people there. So that's pretty cool. Lee Brackett. So I mentioned Lee Brackett before in one of these other videos because she was an influence on Ray Bradbury, so a bit of a mentor for him. So The Coming of the Terrans is a must-read. Right, now let's open this box. Here we go. Oh yeah, Keith Laumer, The World Shuffler. The Time Shifters by Sam Merwin Jr. See, I love the time thing, you know. I'm a sucker for a time travel story. Here we go. It's another Ray Bradbury, Graveyard for Lunatics. We're going to see him a lot here. Ray Bradbury, Graveyard for Lunatics. Robert Silverberg, The World Inside. I've got a feeling that's one of the big ones, but I haven't read that one. So please let me know about that. Bob Shaw, Ship of Strangers. Bob Shaw is often seen as underrated, even though he is one of the big names. But he's one of those people that if you know science fiction a lot, you'll talk about him. But the ones you just dip in don't necessarily find him first. But Bob Shaw is very important. Philip K. Dick, Our Friends from Frolic 8. I love that title. and I like this cover actually. Not sure why, but there we are. Martian Time Slip by Philip K. Dick from the SF Masterwork series. Now and Forever by Ray Bradbury. That's one of his later ones, and there is a bunch of Ray Bradbury ones together, so it might be that we see the Ray Bradbury ones now. Right, Robert Silverberg, A Time of Changes, another SF Masterworks one, and Robert Silverberg likes writing about time as well as Powell Anderson as well. Kate Wilhelm, The Infinity Box. I love that title. And this got the Hugo Award and the Nebula Award, The Infinity Box. Pretty cool. Stainless Steel Wrap Visions. Harry Harrison appears again. I've got tons of Harry Harrison in the loft, so I'm hoping they appeared in the haul, but I'm not absolutely certain. But because I didn't bring everything down, so this isn't an absolute complete set of videos. But Stainless Steel Visions is a bunch of short stories that features a stainless steel rat short story. Clifford Simak, The Visitors. So a book that's not talked about as much, but well worth a look. The Night of Pewdley by Simak. A really brilliant cover, quite a surrealist cover. And this is really important. I've got 2 copies of this, and yeah, Ray Bradbury, Zen and the Art of Writing. I've somehow weirdly managed to find 2 in a very short space of time, because I didn't have a copy of this until about a year ago. So yeah, really important for my Ray Bradbury deep dive. James Tiptree Jr., Warm Worlds and Otherwise. So this was the first thing I've had by her, and I wasn't impressed by the first bits I read from the book. So I don't know whether it's just where I was in my head or those particular stories, or I won't be a fan of her stuff, but there we go. Philip Jose Farmer, The Gate of Time. Look at that amazing cover. The Gate of Time. He's quite a trippy science fiction author, so I don't think he's an author that you read first if you first get into science fiction, because it is pretty weird. Robert Bloch, Ladies' Day and This Crowded Earth. Look at that. 2 complete science fiction novels in one. Love that. This Crowded Earth and Ladies' Day. Ursula K. Le Guin, she's back. The Orsinian Tales. I should put that over there. I'm going to put that over there. Put it there for a sec. I'm going to add that to the other ones. Powell Anderson, The Corridors of Time. Again, you know, there's so many references to time in his work. Robert Silverberg, The Time Hoppers. I might have put those together for a reason. The Time Hoppers. And an Alfred Bester book that I was so pleased to see, because you always really see The Stars of My Destination or The Demolished Man, which are 2 of my favourite books. But this is a book called Gollum. So, Alfred Bester, an extremely important, iconic author who won the first ever Hugo Award. The Silver Eggheads by Fritz Lieber. So I've been talking about him a lot on the channel because of the Sword series, but he did write a lot of science fiction and horror as well. This is a cool one. 3 Times Infinity. So this is a vintage anthology, and it features Ray Bradbury and Lee Brackett, Theodore Sturgeon and Robert Heinlein. So you can't go wrong there. 3 Times Infinity. Philip K. Dick, The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. Very famous book for all the right reasons. Another Ray Bradbury one, Farewell Summer. And another Ray Bradbury book, We'll Always Have Paris. A. Van Voigt, The Undercover Aliens. Haven't read that. Don't know what it's like. Thomas Dish, 334. So this has been discussed on one of the science fiction channels, and I don't know which one it is, but I was watching a video about 334, and yeah, I haven't read this yet, but I know it's quite an important book, or certainly could be seen as important. Driving Blind, Ray Bradbury. So this has got a got a lot of wrapping on it, and I haven't taken it off, but clearly I will do. But Driving Blind, Ray Bradbury, that will be featuring in my deep dive. To Your Scattered Bodies Go. So the first book in the Riverworld series by Philip Jose Farmer. Again, very trippy. This is a book I've had for a long time, and I do value it a lot. It's Damon Knight's collection Far Out, and this collection features To Serve Man. So that's pretty awesome. The first story in the collection is To Serve Man, which is one of the most amazing Twilight Zone episodes. And yeah, definitely awesome collection. CJ Cherry, Brothers of Earth. So again, I don't know this book, but I want to get into CJ Cherry, or at least try her out, see what she's like. Study War No More, awesome book, edited by Joe Haldeman. Lots of anti-war short stories by important science fiction authors. So that's really cool. Night Monsters by Fritz Lieber. Look, I love that cover. Night Monsters. We've got Masters of Eberron by Gordon R. Dixon. Roger Zelazny, My Name is Legion. Really important book. Gunpowder God by H. Beam Piper. That's another H. Beam Piper one. Because I love Little Fuzzies so much, I am going to try this guy out for the other stuff. CJ Cherry again. This is Serpent's Reach. So, yeah, I don't know what this book's like, but I picked this one up at a good price. So I wanted to try out CJ Cherry. See what she's like. This is a really interesting one. And I might put this aside again to read this month, hopefully. Future for Sale by Richard Saxon. Very strange, messing around with gender. Yeah, although actually it's a time travel thing. Anyway, Future for Sale, Richard Saxon. I was thinking about the other one, wasn't I? The Man in the Maze by Robert Silverberg. I love that cover. So Robert Silverberg, The Man in the Maze. And The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. First Ray Bradbury book I ever read when I was about 15 or something. So a very important book to me. And it was actually this edition as well. So I like those covers. This is a little bit knackered, but I couldn't resist it. The Werewolf Principle by Clifford Simak, which is not actually about werewolves. So, a bit misleading, that one. Silverberg, Robert Silverberg, Thorns. Again, I really love that cover. I've seen 3 different covers of this in the last sort of 6 months. But this is like probably my favourite one out of the ones I've seen. Love that. So that's Robert Silverberg, Thorns. Robert Bloch, Atoms and Evil. So these are short stories by Robert Bloch. Robert Bloch, obviously most famous for Psycho, but a really good short story writer. And one of the time travel books I need to read before I do my final decision about what I'm going to put up as my top 20 time travel books next year. And this is a book by Michael Bishop called No Enemy But Time. So this is a book that's gained a good reputation for time travel, and it's definitely one I need to include in my reading before I make that decision. So Michael Bishop, No Enemy But Time. I think yeah. That's the first bit of my sci-fi focus on this library tour. You would have seen loads of sci-fi in the other videos, but these are boxes that are just science fiction. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please comment on the books you've seen. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.
Paint me a picture